Hi, Ghosties. I'm Macy.
And I'm Natalie.
I don't have any special intro or anything today. Took a lot for me to get here.
It did. Why?
I was attacked. I was attacked on my porch by June bugs.
Yeah. Just like the beef I have with mosquitoes, I also have it with June bugs.
I think it stems from elementary school when people used to throw them at you. Did that ever happen to you?
The only time that I actually felt like I wanted to have real physical violence was in those moments.
Okay. Crickets and June bugs.
What's funny about it?
I don't know, but I opened my front door and it came flying at me, so I slammed it and screamed. And then I just stood there and Jake started calling my phone because he was in the other room. And
I like how he didn't get up to check on you. He's calling like...
He probably thought I was outside. He's like, is she okay? And then I had him walk me to the door so he could fight off the June bug for me. And it had landed and he was like, it's not even bothering you. I was like, no, it's watching.
Kill him.
So I walked off the porch and I was like, he's like, I'm going to throw it at you. And I was like, don't you dare. And then all of a sudden one fell from the roof, almost hitting me.
Kill John Lennon. Yes, have you seen those? Yes, my God.
And that's what it felt like. The June bugs were after me. Anyway.
Dude, I can't. It's mosquitoes, mosquito hawks, the huge ones.
Yeah.
And June bugs.
Not a fan.
I can't do it. Sometimes if they're on my door, I can't walk in.
I had to have Jake escort me out because it was coming for me.
It's horrifying.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with why we're here today. It's listener stories, and we're going to get going. Our tea today is a repeat.
Earl Grey.
Bigelow.
Yes. I picked all of our teas this month, so I just picked my favorite ones
all the
on
good
Thursdays.
Ones Natalie likes.
All right, so let's go.
I felt like a stiff drink.
Why?
I don't know. It just felt like I needed it. Today's been something. Also, in the last episode, I noticed that the back of my hair was wild. And so every time I turned, it was just like this poof.
Nothing will ever be like Galveston.
No, I looked like a troll doll, but that's okay.
I didn't think that many people would see it, so wasn't really concerned.
No, me neither.
Looking back on some of our episodes, I mean, even now, we do this at the end of the day after I've been ran over by a truck. So I don't look the best, but there are some episodes at the beginning where it's like, oh, you filmed that way.
There are some episodes now, even lately, where my hair's just kind of in a ball behind me and like falling out, and I just like, that was the day. That's fine. You know what? We're just here to hang out and have a good time, and we're not here to be beauty gurus. We're not here to influence anyone in any way. We just want to have a good time. Tell you some spooky stories.
Yes. And also, I just feel like the last couple of months, every day, we've just been like dragging ourselves across the ground, like food, water, atmosphere. Yeah. I've really felt that way. It's like every day that I make it to like when I finally go to bed, I'm like, I did it. Can't wait for more.
Yeah.
And I set my alarm and do it again. I am very happy. I'm not complaining about life. Life is so good.
Right after you complained.
Yeah, but it's just like...
No, I feel you. Just a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But
things are good, and I'm very happy to be here, so...
Very happy.
Let us know what's going on. I want to talk today in the comments, maybe.
Yeah, let's have a chat.
Because it's a Thursday.
Also, when we're recording this, it is National Public Library Week.
It is. Support
your local libraries.
Nice. Shout out to the mug that you're using today.
Oh, yeah.
That's cute. Glad that you did that. Go read a book.
Go to your library. It's not just books. They also have audiobooks, which, yes, are books. They have videos. There are access to computers and internet, printing in most places.
Yep.
Lots of fun activities are usually planned at the local library. So we utilize our library very often.
Go to the library. Do it. Why not? This weekend, everybody go. Storm the libraries. On behalf of Ghosteas, everybody wear your Ghosties shirt and take a picture in the library.
And go get your library card if you don't have one already.
Oh my God, please. Okay, we'll post it on our story. We'll make a whole Instagram story for library people.
Oh, yeah, please do that.
It would be cute. Wear your Ghosties merch if you have it, and if not, just take a picture of yourself with your library card. Support the libraries.
We'll share every story that we see with people at the library.
I'm just feeling like real jazzed about books. I don't know.
I always am. So okay. This is my neutral state.
All right, we need to get started. Yeah. People don't care.
I am so sorry. How many minutes in are we? And we've said nothing.
Several.
Our first story comes from Anonymous.
Ooh, starting off spooky.
I work in what I'd say is a haunted building. So a bit of background. I'm from Wales, United Kingdom. I'm not sure how old the building is, but it could date back to the 1890s. I've included some old photos to show you guys how far back it goes. Here is how it looks today.
Beautiful. I love it. That's a really cool place to work.
Super cute. I work in a hairdresser's as a stylist in a building on this street. I believe the haunting started when renovations started happening. Apparently, once there was a carpenter in there that saw a little boy, but that story comes from my boss. We have had picture frames that used to fall off walls when no breeze or anyone would walk by constantly at first. Then it turned into feeling like someone was in the room with you. I was helping one of the other girls do some highlights, and I was facing the door, and I had the feeling of someone walking up the stairs, but no one was there when I looked up. So I went back to what I was doing. My work colleague suddenly said to me, "Did you just feel like someone came up the stairs?" I said, "Yeah, why?" And she told me she felt like someone was standing over her, watching her. As soon as we acknowledged it, it went away. Another time, we all stood downstairs and listened to light footsteps upstairs when we 100,000% knew no one was upstairs. One of the scariest was from when me and another girl came in to do each other's hair on our off day. As we were waiting for our foils to develop, we were being really stupid. Doing something you definitely shouldn't do. Provoking spirits.
Oh my gosh.
We were shouting, "Give us a sign, don't be a coward," calling it names and having a laugh. Nothing happened. Then, 5 minutes later, we heard heavy sprinting, like someone wearing boots going up the stairs. We freaked out, called our boss asking if he just came in. He hadn't. We were the only ones in there. We were so freaked out we left with soaking wet hair.
Oh yeah. The correct response.
Agreed.
You know, when I get my hair done, by the time it's like washed and everything and the color's rinsed out, most of the time I'm like, can I just go?
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Is that bad?
Nah.
I just get tired. I'm like, I'm ready to not be in the chair anymore.
That's okay.
It's because I have a lot of hair though. Does it take you a long time?
No, I don't have a lot of hair. And I don't typically get my hair dyed either.
Oh, true.
It's just like a quick cut.
I'm like JoJo Siwa. I'm a natural brown. I get brown roots. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh,
the only JoJo Siwa quote I know is "dream guest on my podcast." So that's about it.
Well, I'm talking about, there's this clip of her when she's really little.
Like in Dance Moms?
Kind of sad. She's like, I've been dyeing my hair since I was 2, maybe 1.5. She's like, I'm not a natural blonde. I'm a natural brown. I get brown roots. She said the brown roots. Roots. Yeah. It's cute, but sad. Anyway,
people say the town, it's called Monmouth, was originally built in the Roman times. It's got tunnels all underneath it that run around the town. Sightings of a big panther-like black cat up in the forest not far from it. It's got it all. And I live here. Yay.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, love your podcast. I love binging it and having a cup of tea with you guys. Lots of hugs. Anonymous.
Ooh, that is exciting. I would like to know more about the town.
Me too.
I love a good, like, creature in the woods type of lore places.
Me too.
Even if it's not any, like, supernatural, it's just like, yeah, we have this huge cougar thing that lives out there.
We have, or had, our old home. Like it's some giant panther living out in the woods somewhere. And it's been seen on several occasions.
I think
heard.
Someone, like, had it as a pet, and then they're like, oh, this is huge. And
like
just
Tiger King?
Let it go. Yes.
But
how else
in
would
the
it
wild?
get there? Yeah. In our small town, it just one shows up. Something suspicious.
I responded to them like, thanks for sending an email. And they said, oh, I actually sent another one just the other day. So I put it in here.
Oh.
So we got a double. Hi, both. I sent my little haunted work stories to you and have some pretty awesome updates. So when any of these things would happen, we would blame Scary Mary. That's the name we made up for our ghost or ghosts. We had a medium come into the work. Long story. She said there was a man called Arthur who in his life was an angry, not nice man. I wonder if this is who we heard running at us when we were having fun swearing at thin air. Anyway, this Arthur had a wife and a few kids she could connect to in the building. The wife's name just so happened to be Mary. I'm sure she was a lovely woman, just had a mean husband in her day.
Oh my goodness. Okay, if I was going to name a spirit or a haunting or whatever, I would name it something light, like Lily or,
Edith.
Something, yeah, Scary Mary.
I mean, that's kind of a fun name, like when you're just joking around with your coworkers and you're like, oh, Scary Mary's here.
No, it makes me more like
scared.
Yes. If they were like, oh, that's just Judith, like it's fine. But no, Scary Mary.
Well, there was actually a Mary.
Very interesting.
I have a random sleep paralysis story if you do another sleep paralysis episode for you guys, if you want. To start, a little bit of the layout of our old house. As you come in through the door, you are straight into the kitchen. The stairs are on your left, up the stairs, and across is the bedroom we slept in. Now, for starters, if I ever had a bad dream, I can hear my voice saying, wake up, it's not real, until eventually I wake up. Always cutting off really bad dreams. I was having a dream where I was frantically being chased up the stairs by something, tripping over my own legs as I ran up. When I got to the bedroom door, I slam it shut in my dream and instantly wake up before this thing can come crashing through the door. However, when I wake up, I find my fiancé in a form of sleep paralysis. He was mumbling, slightly moving. I shook him awake properly, and his eyes flew open, staring at me. He looked quite panicked. So I asked him, "Are you okay?" His reply was that something came in through the door, jumped on the bed, and was sitting on his chest watching him. Okay, the way he described it was a messed up French bulldog gremlin thing. I just sat there stunned. I had just had that dream, and then to wake up to him having that experience just as in my dream something had crashed through the door as I woke. Yeah, safe to say we no longer live there and haven't had anything like that since. A little weird.
That
terrifying.
Is so scary. But also, what happens if you're having sleep paralysis and someone like wakes you up? Does it instantly snap you out of it?
I would assume maybe. Because like if you're able to move your body and, I don't know, your brain fully realizes.
Because I remember one time I was laying on the couch, and every time I even just go horizontal, I fall asleep.
Yes.
And Ryan was sitting on the couch. I laid over the other way, and I started to like slip into it. And the whole time I was thinking like, if I could just alert him, he could like know that I'm struggling right now. And the whole time I couldn't. And I finally was like, and I woke up and I was like, did you not see? Like I was, and he was like, no, you were just sleeping. I was like, I couldn't move.
You're on fire inside and your body outside just like this.
Yeah. And so I was like, I remember thinking like, I wish he would just like wake me up or like see that I'm struggling.
Scary.
Very scary. So that's interesting.
At least he didn't have a dream of a creature coming into your room as you started having sleep paralysis.
That makes it so real.
Okay, our next story comes from Alex. Spooky, wholesome story, and one of my only ghostly experiences in my life that happened when I was a child, around 6 to 7, and has never left me, now 28. I can still remember it clear as day, even though I don't remember much else from that age. Once when I was a child, living in Baton Rouge across from an old children's hospital, I woke up in the middle of the day and the house was very quiet. The night before, my cousin had stayed the night and I woke up to find that she was out of bed. I got out of bed to go and see her, and I heard something coming from the sunroom and went to look for her. As I turned into the room, I saw a shadow run into the kitchen, and I thought she was running from me. The kitchen was the center of the house, sort of like a room within a room, and you could walk around the whole thing over and over. Me and my cousins and brothers would often play tag or chase each other around the kitchen. So I started running and chasing her around every corner. I just missed sight of her, only seeing a shadow or a glimpse of a child's leg. I got tired of chasing her and a little sad that she wouldn't let me catch her so we could play together. I went to my mom to tell her that my cousin was running away from me and I wanted my mom to go and get her to stop. My mom then informed me that my cousin had already gotten picked up by my uncle that morning before I woke up. I don't know who or what I was chasing around that day, but since we lived next to the children's hospital, I like to tell myself it was a sweet child who saw me and my brothers playing and just wanted to join in. I never saw it again, but I will never forget it, and I think about it a lot now watching my child and nieces run around the same house and wonder if the child will come play with them one day.
Aw, but
it's kind of, yeah, I was about to say it's kind of sweet.
I was really, really scared until that second part about the children's hospital, because then it's like, okay, like it's just an innocent kid that saw people playing, but
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I wonder if her kids or nieces and nephews have seen it, the spirit or whatever.
That would be really interesting, but that's a long time.
That reminds me of?
What?
The sister who had an imaginary friend, and then her brother who was many years younger than her, having the same imaginary friend.
Yeah, that one was crazy.
Didn't her child also have the same imaginary friend at her mom's house?
I don't remember. I remember it was the brother,
her and her brother like looked at each other across the dinner table when her daughter started talking about it.
Maybe.
I might be just adding on to it.
No, but I kind of
imagination.
I think I remember that. I believe you.
Okay. Our next story comes from Savannah. Hi guys, I just started watching the pod and I love it so much. It's perfect to watch while I cozy up on the couch and drink some tea. And watching you guys talk reminds me of chatting with my friends. I was watching one of your subscriber stories when you talked about a haunted dorm room, and it reminded me of an experience I had back in 2018. It is a doozy, but it's completely true and based on my friends and I's experiences. Please read until the end. I attached some pics and links for proof/references, so don't forget to take a look at those too. Thanks for reading. In 2018, I was a freshman in high school and I attended a show choir summer camp at Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois. My friend and I were assigned to stay at a dorm called Aston Hall. The dorm was very old, and upon arrival, we were already getting weird vibes. I remember having that terrible sinking feeling in my stomach when we went in. The first 2 nights or so were pretty normal, other than just feeling weird, but our floor was a little extra creepy since our room was at the end of the hall, and the rooms past ours were empty and taped off for construction/renovation over the summer. One night, we went over to our friends' rooms, who were staying in a different dorm called Blackburn Hall. We were all chatting and ended up talking about how my dorm was giving us creepy vibes. The other girls mentioned that they actually had a weird experience the night before. They told us that all 3 of them had suddenly woken up at the same time in the middle of the night, only to realize that their blankets had been pulled off of their beds, The lights in the room had also been flipped on when they had specifically turned them off before they went to sleep. Obviously, we all freaked out after talking about this and decided to Google Millikan University Blackburn Hall haunted. To say the least, we were horrified with what we found. There had been other reports of a mischievous spirit in Blackburn Hall called the Blackburn Joker, who some claim is a woman named Bonnie Blackburn, the building's namesake. This gave us chills, but what was far worse is what we discovered about the other dorm that my friend and I were staying in. In the same article we found about the Blackburn ghost, it said that in 1927, a student named Bernice Richardson had committed suicide in her dorm room in Aston Hall by drinking poison. We found an old newspaper article about it that literally made my heart drop to my feet. The photo of her is terrifying. There were reports of people seeing her apparition around the dorm or having paranormal encounters. Obviously, my friend and I were terrified going back to our dorm the rest of the week. The next night, after finally falling asleep, I woke up suddenly around 3 a.m.
Oh no.
I felt so uneasy and tried hard to fall back asleep, but I really had to go to the bathroom. There were only communal bathrooms since it was a dorm, so I had to walk all the way down the hallway. The hallway was completely silent as I walked to the bathroom, but once I was inside the stall, it suddenly sounded like there was a huge commotion going on outside. It sounded like loud banging, creaking, and thumping from the hallway. For a moment, I almost felt relieved because the eerie silence had been broken. And my first thought was that someone else was awake, or maybe there was more construction work going on. The longer I sat there, I slowly realized that it didn't make any sense at all for construction to be happening, obviously, because it was 3 a.m. I was frozen in fear, and the noises went on for a few minutes as I sat there. Eventually, I convinced myself that something must be going on in the hall and I needed to see what it was to ease my mind. But as soon as I got up to leave the bathroom stall, the noise stopped and it went completely silent again. I peeked my head into the hall and there were no signs of the commotion I had just heard, clear as day, completely silent. When I stepped out into the hall, there was another loud slam that sounded like one of the doors slamming shut suddenly. This practically made me jump out of my skin, and as I darted down the hall back to my room, I saw that the door right across from ours was now wide open. Nobody was staying there because it was one of the rooms that was being renovated, and it had definitely been shut when I left to go to the bathroom.
Oh no.
I immediately woke up my friend and asked if she had heard anything, and she said no. So the next day, I asked a lot of the girls on our floor if they had heard anything the night before, and nobody had heard any of the loud commotion I had heard. After that, I didn't leave my room at night. I'll never know if it was Bernice playing a trick on me or another spirit, but I've never been more happy to leave summer camp before. Thanks for reading. Like I said, I love the pod so much, and I would be honored if my story was included. I can't wait to see you guys and Ghosties get big. Savannah.
Dude, I said it on the last one. Dorm rooms, college dorm rooms, why are they all scary? Name one that's really not scary. I've never seen one in person.
Not one that I've been to.
No. Every single dorm room I've been to is horrifying.
So here's Aston Hall.
That's haunted.
I believe maybe this is Blackburn, or maybe that's Aston Hall too.
That's haunted.
And here is the article. Oh. Yeah, the image is, maybe it's just the way that it was scanned in.
I can't look at it anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's like a picture of a real person. That's like her school photo or something.
But it's horribly printed.
It's distorted. Yeah.
No. They said they went in 8th grade on a trip?
Freshman in high school.
Okay, so they were 14, 15?
Yeah.
If that picture would have been enough for me to be like, Mom, pick me up. You're laughing. I'm so serious.
No, I'm laughing because I can picture it. You calling Mom.
I drive often.
All those hours to go pick you up from the college.
And she would. She enabled me.
She probably would.
Yeah.
Those pictures got me. There are several pictures in this episode.
You didn't even have to tell me the story. If you would have just showed me that picture, I'd be scared.
That's it. Someone said,
I hear it now.
Someone said sometimes your screams will sound like their cat meowing. And so they had to go back in one of them to see if it was you or their cat.
That's hilarious. But that was very Hank Hill of you. I hear it now. I've never heard it until just now. Interesting.
I told you I've got a vibe.
Something about the way you say things. I can hear it now.
It's just the Texan in both of us.
Yeah. Sorry.
And by us, I mean me and Hank.
Oh, I was like, me.
No, me and Hank.
Oh my God. We have so many Halloween costumes we need to do.
I know. Our next story comes from Anna Kate. Hi, ladies. I'm a new viewer, but I'm obsessed, so I thought I'd send in some of my experiences. When I was in 3rd grade, we had moved to a new house, and it was a 2-story house. My parents had the master, my sister and I shared one, and then my aunt and uncle, who lived with us at the time, shared the other room. One night, my sister and I were laying in bed trying to fall asleep when all of a sudden there was this huge banging sound, like someone was hitting our window. which was on the second story.
Oh it
always is. They hit the window so hard the blinds were flying out. My sister and I ran out screaming, so my uncle and dad went in to check it out, and there was no way anyone could have hit our window except a ghost. After that day, my sister and I were constantly on edge. About a month later, we were all sitting down in the living room, which was right under the master bedroom, and we could hear someone walking from the bedroom through the master bathroom and into the master closet and back. This happened multiple times, and every person in the house was in the living room. Ugh, goosebumps. They said that.
Oh, are you saying that? Because yeah, I agree.
No, agreed. This was the last experience I personally had in the house, but a couple of weeks after my mom had an experience where she saw an old country man standing on the stairs, and it scared her. So she closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, he was gone. It wasn't too long after that we moved out. I also see the Hat Man in my dreams so often. I'm a person who lives with insanely crippling anxiety, and I've noticed on super stressful days when I'm feeling extremely anxious, I have constant dreams of the Hat Man. Those dreams scare me so bad that I constantly wake up from them, but they come back every time I fall back asleep. Anyways, love your podcast so much. You guys are so cute and funny, and I love Natalie's reactions to stories. Bye.
Thank you. Wow. I hate stories with the second, third, fourth, whatever window and something is there.
Me too.
Why?
Me too. It freaks me out.
That needs to be something that they, like a new little thing in horror movies. Because I don't think I've seen that a lot. Not that I can think of right now off the top of my head. Where like...
Oh, but I can picture it in a movie where you like open the window and someone's like hovering there or something.
Yeah. I think about it was one of our first episodes where it was like down.
Oh yeah, peeking over. Yes. That wasn't a listener story though. That was... story from the internet.
Yeah, but it was early on.
I wonder if it was this old country man that was walking around the bedroom and
he just owned the house, maybe
messing with the windows or something. That's what I would assume.
That's what I hope, and that's what I would tell myself too.
And about the like anxiety and the Hat Man, were we not just talking about trying to sleep at night with anxiety and closing your eyes and like,
yeah,
I was telling Natalie about when my anxiety is really high at night, especially when I close my eyes, I'll see like scary images and I have to open my eyes to get it out of my head and like almost like hit refresh on my mind to be able to close them back and go to sleep. I forgot this story was in here.
That is weird because right before we started recording, we were talking about that.
But I relate and I'm sorry about your anxiety and I hope that you find ways to cope and help yourself when you need it.
Oh yeah, because I feel you.
Our next story comes from Harley. Hello, Ghosties. My name is Harley, and I found your podcast a few weeks ago while I was in between my classes, trying to find something to watch while doing homework, and immediately love the way you guys tell stories and share information about all things spooky. I was listening to all your listener/subscriber stories on my way home tonight and thought I'd share a story I've experienced, along with a photo of what I believe to be evidence of a ghost/spirit I took when I was younger.
Oh my gosh.
So here goes.
So many pictures.
I told you, I didn't do this on purpose.
Isn't it weird? Every time we like, people always send stuff that are similar,
like themed out without me having to do anything.
It is so weird. And it's crazy because we get like sometimes like 30 emails a day, which is nuts, by the way.
I know. When I was sick, I didn't go through the emails for several days and I went in and I was like, oh my gosh. And just scroll.
It's intimidating.
Organize it all, but keep on sending them. ghostiespod@gmail.com.
Yes, because we have no plans to stop.
Okay, on to Harley's story. To start off, I think a little background on this place I took the picture at is needed. Ever since I was younger, I've been obsessed with learning about cryptids, ghosts, monsters, legends, etc. So one day, my dad announced that my family was going to go on a camping trip, as we usually did because we traveled a lot for my softball tournaments when I was younger. I was about 13 at the time. At first, we all just shrugged it off, but my dad knew exactly what would pique my interest and told me, you know, this campground is supposed to be haunted. I immediately perked up. What do you mean? How? My dad went on to explain that this campground was supposed to be haunted by Native American spirits, as well as legendary troll-like creatures known as the Pugwudgies, who roam around the park and protect the Native American mounds that the park is named after.
We've talked about those.
We have in our fairies episode. Obviously, this got me entirely too excited. We got to the park, and I remember the first 2 nights we were there, I begged my dad to come into the woods with me at night and look for these Pugwudgies, which were apparently small, almost Smurf-like looking creatures, or any Native American spirits that may be wandering. Alas, we did not find anything, which disappointed the younger me a lot. However, the last day we were at this campground, I had time in between softball games, and my dad knew I was disappointed I had not seen anything paranormal. He knew I loved history though, and tried to cheer me up by telling me we could do a historic tour of the one house on this campground that was built around the 1830s from some of the first actual settlers in the area. This house was called the Bronnenberg House, and was this super cool old brick home with the inside also set up as it had been back in the 1800s. At this time, I did not have a phone, but I had a first generation iPad I took with me everywhere. I took this iPad on the tour with me and snapped a bunch of pictures of the inside of the house as well as a few pictures of the outside of the house. Nothing crazy happened during the tour, and I didn't think anything of the pictures I took until I got back from my softball games late at night. I was scrolling through my iPad, looking at all the pictures I had previously taken earlier that day, when I noticed something that made my heart stop. I had taken about 5 to 10 or so pictures of the outside of the house, just getting different angles and pretending I was a photographer. But in one of these pictures, I noticed something in the window that no other pictures of this house had captured. In one picture only, there was a face in the window. At first, I thought maybe it was a reflection or someone in the house, but we had just left the tour when I took these, and the guide was outside waiting for a new group to come. So there was no people inside the house at this time. The face is also too distinct for me to try and pretend it's just a coincidental reflection. I remember thinking, holy crap, I actually took a picture of a ghost, and even showed my dad, who was visibly freaked out, which was weird for him since he usually kept his composure in every situation and also was a bit of a skeptic. My dad says he sees a woman's head looking down to the side, but when I first saw it, I thought it looked like the face of a bearded man peering out at me through the curtains. What? I'll show you the picture, but they say, note, sorry for the bad quality. This was a picture taken of my iPad from my phone a few years ago since my iPad is basically too old to function anymore. Here is the photo.
I'm nervous. Okay. You know, that sounds like, oh my God. That's how I feel.
Nose, eye, beard.
Wait, okay. Wait.
Yes. And I think you'll see it more when she's got it side by side with a photo of the owner of the house.
Maybe. I need to see. Oh, okay.
Now do you see nose?
Oh.
Which is weird because like he's got eyes that are kind of close to each other with this like big nose. And I don't know. I'm convinced. And you can kind of see the shadows of the beard at the bottom.
Yeah, I didn't see it at first, but with the side by side, it kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I was hoping that we would see something like that whenever
New Orleans or Galveston or anywhere.
Yes, anywhere, because Austin, any of them, because the tour guides are always like, yeah, you might not see it now, but turn your photos on live and then watch them later because you might see something. And we never have. Not yet.
So she goes on, I've tried to post about this story and show the picture on one of my new YouTube channels, but I don't get many views and thought emailing you guys was a great opportunity to get this story out to others. So maybe if there's some sort of explanation someone can provide, I can figure out what exactly this picture is. And if there is no explanation, well, we can all be creeped out and flabbergasted together. Keep up the good work. You guys are doing fantastic. Can't wait to hear more stories from you two. Best, Harley.
Thank you. That's crazy. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do y'all see it?
Yeah.
Or are we nuts?
I don't know. Maybe I've been influenced, but I think I see it. Either way, there's something there.
Oh, yeah, there's something.
Is it a lady looking to the side? Is it a man with a beard? I don't know for sure. I see the man with a beard, but that also could be because she showed me a picture of a man with a beard next to it.
That's true.
Let us know in the comments if you see it. Our next story comes from Haley. My name is Haley, and I have been sensitive to energies and spirits since I was very young. The story I am most excited to share takes place when I was about 13 years old. I had just moved to Kentucky. My brothers and I had to move around a lot during our childhood, but we were told this would finally be our forever home and wouldn't have to move again. The reason we had moved that last time was because our stepfather's mom lived alone in an old farmhouse on a hill. She is a pretty silly old lady and does some very out-of-pocket things sometimes, and also had some health issues at the time. So naturally, our stepfather was worried and wanted to move in with her. My mom, brothers, and I had already met her and decided to move up there to keep watch of her and get her any help she may need. Well, we arrive at the farm. She had chickens and ducks, but that was about it. One of the hens was very friendly and would even let you hold her and pet her little head. My mental health at that time was very bad, and I think seeing those chickens really helped me keep it together and keep me distracted from my problems, which probably seems silly, but they were very cute to watch, especially because they were a bit dumb. I mean that in the most loving way possible. Anyways, I felt comfortable for once.
Aww.
That doesn't seem silly to me at all.
That's so cute, actually.
Now, this farm is very old. So old that some of the old owners were buried there far away from the house, but not so far that you couldn't see the headstones when you stood beside the house. This never bothered me at all, really. I thought nothing of it. About a month after moving in, of course, weird things started to happen. At first, it was just little things. A couple of taps on the wall. Old house, it's fine. Scratches in the walls beside my bed or by my closet. Oh, that's probably just mice. And it very well could have been. Who knows? But the events that followed lead me to believe otherwise. On several occasions, my closet door, right beside my bed by the way, would open on its own. My mother and I blamed it on a draft, so I wasn't too worried, but still a bit put off by it. And that's when my paranoia began to grow. I would hear breathing sometimes, but told myself I was just tired and hearing things. After these things became more regular, I would find myself not wanting to be in my own room anymore. Next thing I know, I'm waking up at exactly 3:15 in the morning. It happened every night for several months, and it became harder and harder to fall back asleep. One of those times, I heard a feminine voice whisper right in my ear, long and drawn out, "Haley."
Thank you for that.
This voice was unlike any other, completely unrecognizable to me. Not my mother's, Nana's, Grandma's, nothing. I didn't move a single centimeter, and I dared not breathe. Although soft and feminine, it felt malevolent.
Oh.
Like, little did I know things would just get worse.
No.
I began having hallucinations. At least that's what I tell myself, because what I would come to see is so awful, I couldn't even make it up. I was only 13. These events took place 6 years ago, and I am still almost too frightened to talk about it. I had nothing to protect me at the time because I was not spiritual or religious in any way. While everything I previously mentioned was still going on, scratching and tapping, closet door opening, etc., I would see shadowy figures appear in dark corners of my room. I would tell myself I'm just tired and seeing things. I told myself the same thing when I got up one night for a drink and saw through the glass pantry door a man hanging from a rope with seemingly a bag over his head. I booked it to my room so fast and watched some of my comfort YouTubers for as long as I couldn't sleep. I would tell no one of these events until years later.
Oh my gosh.
That image kind of reminds me of The Sixth Sense.
Uh-huh.
When he's just like seeing horrible like figures all the time. And that's scary. Now for the scariest thing I experienced in my bedroom. I was reading Harry Potter, as I did most of the time. I was on FaceTime with a dear friend of mine and a couple of her friends as well. They were chatting and cutting up, completely distracted. Right against the side of my bed, I had a little table on which I set my lamp I would turn on while I read, which I did all of the time. Nothing new, until my lamp somehow is flung towards the wall and lands next to the foot of my bed, which was unplugged from being yanked by something my eyes could not see. I had never known such a fear until then. I screamed so loud my own ears pounded with pain, and I jumped from the foot of my bed to the kitchen just outside my bedroom. Thank goodness I left my door open and sprinted to the couch. I still had my phone in hand, so I asked my friends if they had seen or heard what happened. They were all confused. They hadn't heard anything that had just happened.
It's funny they said, like, glad I left the door open, because it was me. There's a me-shaped hole, just like
in through the door.
Yes.
After that, things went back to normal, with just the noises and my closet door opening. I would sometimes still see the shadow figures at random, but in no way was I comfortable. Later on, we built a trailer next to the house on the same hill and moved our things since my mom had another baby and we needed the space. I don't know how to describe it, but I felt clean and was no longer feeling clouded by dark energy. The only other spiritual experience I had in that house was quite sad, but also somewhat comforting. October 2019. My cat, Oliver, passed away during the night. A couple of nights later, I see him walk into my room, and right as he approaches my bed where I was sitting, he vanishes.
Oh.
I believe he was saying goodbye. I had been crying nonstop. I couldn't go a minute without crying. Seeing him gave me the closure I needed. I just wish I got to hold him one last time.
Oh my.
Ooh, that hurt my heart.
Me too.
We sadly no longer live in that house as it was taken by a tornado in 2021. No lives were lost except our other cat, Nemo. After some time, while we were rebuilding on the hill, we lived in an old nasty trailer. And months later, I saw Nemo again. She approached and vanished just as Oliver had years ago. I still cry just thinking about it. I'm gonna cry now.
Yeah, I can't handle any more sadness on this freaking podcast, bro.
I don't remember how the last one ends, so I'm sorry if it's sad. Thank you for allowing me to tell my story. Let me know if you're interested in my other experiences. Some are small and sweet, others are quite frightening, and I shake every time they cross my mind. But I'd be more than happy to share them all with you regardless. I already feel as though a weight has been lifted. Please do. Please do.
That's good. I do think your cats were saying goodbye.
Me too. Definitely.
And I've talked about it before, but if people are new here, our childhood dog, Riley, we had him for over 15 years. Mm-hmm. He passed away in 2019. And a couple months later, I was laying in bed at my mom's house, and he used to come into my room and go like, woof, when he wanted food, and he would come and bother you until you gave him extra food. And I had been just laying there, and I heard the little roof, and I was like, Riley, no. And then I froze, and I turned over, and no dogs were there. Petey was laying in bed with me, all the other dogs were gone. It was Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm about to cry. We gotta move on.
Our next story comes from Marisol. Hi, my name is Marisol, and I just recently found your guys' channel, and I love your videos. I wanted to share my Ouija board experience with you. There was one time when I was a freshman in high school. I was spending the night at my best friend's house. She lives with her older sister, and this specific night, we decided to pay her mom a visit at her house. We were there hanging out, eating snacks and popcorn, watching movies, when my best friend had the idea to bring out the Ouija board. I had never played the Ouija board before this. I am Catholic, and I was raised to believe that Ouija boards are a form of witchcraft and they open doors to evil spirits. Despite my better judgment, I agreed to play. We turned off the movie, turned all the lights off. My best friend and I sat on the couch with a TV dinner table in front of us. We put the Ouija board on top of the table, placed our fingers on the planchette, and we moved the piece around the board 3 times. We tried asking several questions like, what's your name? Who are you? How old are you? Etc. It took us a while to finally get an answer. After a few minutes of asking questions, the planchette begins to move. For the most part, I was pretty skeptical, and I believed that either she or myself was unconsciously moving the game piece. After about 20 minutes of talking with the spirit, we had found out it was an older man who had passed away years before we were born. After a while, my best friend wasn't taking it seriously anymore, and she began to make jokes, mocking the spirit. Her older sister and I warned her and told her to stop, as it wasn't something to be messing around with. But my best friend continued to joke around. Finally, my best friend jokingly asked the spirit, "Are you going to follow Mary home?" As she laughed. I got angry with her and told her to stop and that it wasn't funny.
Agreed.
When all of a sudden, both of our fingers came off the planchette at the same time. When we looked down at the game piece, it continued to move across the board by itself. We both, without saying a word, launched our fingers back on the planchette, spun a circle 3 times around the board, and said goodbye. After that, we put the board away and went back to her sister's house to continue our sleepover. The rest of the night was fine. We laughed, watched more movies, and for the most part, just hung out. We fell asleep that night and nothing else happened. Until the next day, when I went home. I had gotten home from her house, and as I was throwing in a load of laundry, my phone started ringing. It was my best friend, and she was freaking out, crying. Her sister worked a lot and was gone most of the time. My best friend was usually home alone. This day, though, she had been home alone when she heard the door to the garage open. She heard the sister's car pull into the driveway. The door to the house then opened, and she heard her sister walk in and set some stuff on the counter. After a few minutes of silence, she heard her sister's voice call, "Allie," her name, from the kitchen. My best friend replied with, "What?" No response. When my best friend went out into the kitchen to investigate, there was no one there. Nothing on the counter. No car in the garage. There was no one home. After shutting the door to the garage, she heard 3 loud bangs and scratching coming from the other side of the door. She didn't think twice, and she sprinted to her room to call me. Her house was always super creepy growing up, and I have had my fair share of experiences at that house, but I believe whatever spirit was messing with her that day was the spirit she mocked the night before. Thank you to whoever read my story. I love your guys' podcast so much. Keep it up. Much love, Marisol.
No.
And this is why we say, don't play with Ouija boards.
Don't do it. No, don't.
Just because
it's not worth it.
You don't know. You just don't know.
If you need a thrill, watch a scary movie.
And if you're going to, at least respect whatever you're talking to.
Yep, very true. Oh my gosh.
That's so scary.
I can't do the calling your name from far away, the mimicry type things like that.
All of that's horrible and chilling, but to then close all the doors and then hear scratching and banging like it wants to come in, makes my heart just want to jump out of my chest.
Yeah, me too.
Our last story comes from Liz. Hello, my name is Liz. Recently, I just graduated high school, and with that means I have to clean out my stuff, including my attic. While searching in this attic, me and my younger sister found an old TV that used to sit in my room, and it reminded me and my sister of an especially scary occurrence that happened at our old house in the country. Growing up Japanese and in the Japanese countryside for me and my sister meant that ghost stories were pretty common in our childhood, meaning that from a young age, we heavily believed in ghosts. And around the 5th grade, my parents decided to pack up our stuff and move to America. Coming from the countryside meant that living in the city wasn't an option for my parents, and that decision landed us in an old 2-story brick house with only about 2 neighbors in a 50-mile radius. The most scary part for me was the large field in the backyard that eventually faded into a large forest. For the first week of living in the house, my younger sister and I slept in the same bed in her room. Nothing happened other than the occasional noise, but then again, the house was very old, so me and my sister never got off-put by this. That was until my bedroom had finally received all its furniture, meaning I was now allowed to sleep in my room by myself. My room was quite normal except for one very prominent part. The door had a lock on the outside of the door, and with that, you couldn't shut my door without it automatically locking.
From the outside?
From the outside.
Oh, no.
I never slept with my door open, but with this, I was now required to do so. When night came, I laid in my bed and began to fall asleep. I've never been a dreamer, but this night I suddenly had a dream that involved me being dragged across a floor. I woke up in an absolute cold sweat and mess. I was scared, but wasn't scared enough to go alert someone for help. I decided to go back to sleep, but because of how hot I was, I decided to sleep without blankets. I laid with my eyes closed, trying to fall back to sleep when I felt something cold pushing on my face. I assumed it was the fan in my room just blowing air on my face and continued to try to sleep.
No.
That was until I suddenly felt a large jolt on my arm, causing my fight or flight to kick in, and I abruptly sat up. This caused me to jump out of my bed and run straight across the hall to my parents' room. I tried scrambling out the story to my mom and landed on just saying, "I've been pulled out of my bed." My mom looked at me half asleep and told me it was just a bad dream. She walked me back to my room and told me just to sleep with the TV on. To this day, my mom says she was sorry for not believing me at the time, and we make jokes about it. From that night forward, me and my sister experienced things from my sister being scratched to us seeing shadows in the dark hallways. In the 7th grade, my parents decided to move after my sister and I experienced our hair being touched in the bathroom. To this day, I can't sleep outside a blanket or without my door being opened. I don't know what was in that house, but I have a feeling it wasn't friendly, and it especially didn't like me and my sister. My sister and I tried researching the house to explain the outside lock on my door, or maybe if anything occurred in the woods, but we hit a wall in finding anything. I have more stories I could share, but I think that could be saved for another day. Thank you for listening to my experience, and I hope I will see my story featured on a podcast soon. Much love, Liz.
An outside lock on any door scares me.
Red flag, a blaring red flag.
Either one, the person that is doing the locking is evil, or 2, they're locking something away because they can't handle it and it needs to be contained.
Did they lock it away at night? It was just the door was always shut and locked at nighttime?
I don't know, but both options are very scary for me.
Either way.
Yeah.
I'm not liking it.
No, not at all.
And I'm sorry that you and your sister had to experience that at such a young age, in a new house, in a new country.
But at least you had each other.
Yes.
That makes me feel a little bit safer.
And a TV to turn on to block out all the sounds.
Yep. Volume on 70.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's entirely too loud.
And you'll never know if anything's in the room because you can't hear.
Yeah. You're blaring everyone else.
And turn up the brightness.
Their neighbors in the 50-mile radius are going to hear them.
Oh, you know what I've been watching? Because things are so heavy. I was watching House. I'm still watching House. I've been watching Reba.
Good show.
So good. Just lighthearted. So yeah,
it's an
Reba
easy watch.
on 70.
Okay.
TV brightness all the way up.
I just imagine it's 2 a.m.
Hey! Yeah.
It's 2 a.m. You're getting a drink of water, and all of a sudden you hear a single mom who works 2 jobs.
That's exactly how it's been for the past week or so for me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Poor Ryan. Does he have earplugs?
He's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone who wrote into us. We love your stories.
Yeah, I have so much fun.
Enough. I cannot get enough of these. They're so good. If you have a story that you'd like to share with us, you can email us at ghostiespod@gmail.com. It's also written down in the description. You can just copy paste it into your email. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends if you feel compelled to do so. And subscribe for more. We've got more things coming next week.
Yep. And rate us 5 stars on podcasts because for some reason, we're number 77 today, as of today.
Today. I mean, we'll probably fall off the charts tomorrow.
Hey, Ghosteas Pod, guys, we made it on the Spotify charts in America, so...
Yeah, I told my friends if I never succeeded anything ever again, at least I can look back and say, hey, my podcast was in the top 100 on Spotify one time.
Don't know how that happened, but
give us 5 stars. Give us 5 stars and share us with your friends too on podcasts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild.
Doesn't sound real.
Do people know that we don't know what we're doing?
Do y'all know that we don't know what we're doing?
We're just winging it all the time.
I think they could tell.
Probably.
All right. See you Monday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.